People think money is power. It isn't. Control is power. And control, I would learn, is something men can't stand to see a woman hold without trying to take it. My name is Celeste Mercer, and I built an empire from nothing. I didn't inherit wealth. I didn't marry into it. I didn't stumble into luck or have doors opened for me because someone owed my father a favor. I built everything with strategy, sleepless nights, and a spine made of steel. I started with spreadsheets, cold calls, and a laptop I bought on a payment plan. I slept in a studio apartment with water stains on the ceiling, learning everything I could about markets, real estate, private equity, and behavioral finance. While everyone else was posting vacations, I was building models and taking risks that made my hands shake. I didn't just want success, I wanted freedom. And by 34, I had it. My firm, Mercer Financial, managed billions. I owned properties in 4 countries. I flew private when I wanted privacy, commercial when I wanted to remember where I came from. I funded scholarships for girls who looked like me, girls who were told to be realistic. I didn't just survive the system, I bent it. That's when I met Adrian Cole. He wasn't intimidated by my success. That's what I told myself. He didn't flinch when he found out what I did. He didn't ask how much I was worth or try to impress me with credentials. He didn't posture or compete. He listened. That was his first move. We met at a charity gala. I donated 7 figures anonymously. He was standing by the bar, tie slightly loosened, watching the room like he didn't need anything from it. When we spoke, he didn't ask what I did. He asked what kept me awake at night. It disarmed me. He didn't try to dominate the conversation. He didn't try to prove he belonged in the room. He asked questions, real ones, about vision, legacy, what it meant to build something that outlives you. He looked at me like I was not a prize to win, but a world to explore. That was dangerous. When you spend your life in rooms where everyone wants something from you, the person who pretends not to is the one you let in. Adrian worked in architecture, small firm, good work, but nothing grand. He never pretended otherwise. He said he admired builders, people who created instead of just consumed. He said my mind fascinated him, and slowly, deliberately, he became part of my life. He didn't rush. He didn't push. He learned my routines, my stress patterns, my vulnerabilities. When I had migraines, he brought tea without asking. When I was deep in analysis, he never interrupted. When I spoke about expansion, he asked smart questions that made me rethink angles. He made me feel safe. Safety is the most intoxicating lie. We married quietly. No media, no press, no spectacle. I told myself it was because I valued privacy. In truth, I didn't want the world questioning the choice. I'd spent years building an image, strategic, disciplined, untouchable. And love makes you look soft. We signed no prenup. That decision haunts me in ways I can't describe. It wasn't arrogance, it was trust. And trust is the most expensive currency. At first, marriage felt seamless. Adrian never asked to be part of my company. He didn't demand titles or access. He kept working on his architectural projects. We maintained separate professional lives. But slowly, small shifts began. He started asking about operations, not out of curiosity, but with suggestions.
You need someone you trust overseeing acquisitions,
He'd say casually.
I hate seeing you shoulder everything.
He framed it as concern, as partnership. When I hesitated, he didn't push. He withdrew. Silence became pressure. Affection became conditional. The message was never spoken aloud. It didn't need to be. If I trusted him, why was I keeping him out? That question planted doubt where none had lived before. Then came the proposal. Not the romantic kind, the strategic one. He wanted to start a joint venture, a real estate development arm under Mercer Financial. His vision, my capital. He pitched it brilliantly. Growth, diversification, shared legacy. It sounded logical. It sounded intimate. Building together. a shared empire. I agreed. That was my first mistake. The second was giving him signing authority for that division. Not full control, just operational access. Enough to move things along without needing my signature on every detail. Efficiency, I told myself. Trust, he said. 3 months later, I started noticing things. Small discrepancies, transfers that didn't match projections, contracts routed through shell entities, vendor agreements that felt off. I confronted him gently at first. He smiled, kissed my forehead.
You're exhausted, Celeste. Let me handle this. You're carrying too much.
And I believed him, until my CFO flagged something we couldn't ignore. $187 million had moved through entities tied to Adrian, offshore accounts, holding structures layered like a maze. This wasn't mismanagement, it was architecture. I confronted him that night. He didn't deny it. He didn't panic. He sat across from me, calm, almost sympathetic.
I'm not stealing from you.
He said.
I'm protecting us.
He explained like I was the naive one. That money tied directly to me was vulnerable, that governments change, that lawsuits happen, that wealth needed to be insulated. From what? From me. He had moved assets under entities he controlled, quietly, systematically. I stared at him, and the man I married evaporated like a mirage.
You moved my assets without consent.
I moved our assets.
He corrected. Our. There it was. The word that meant nothing when I was building alone, but everything when someone wanted to take half. He reached for my hand. I pulled back.
This is betrayal.
This is marriage.
He said. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't cry. I recalculated, because heartbreak is emotional, but war is strategic. The next morning, I acted normal. I didn't accuse, didn't scream, didn't threaten lawyers. I watched. People who betray you always reveal their full hand once they think they've won. I told Adrian I needed time to process, that I understood his intentions, that maybe I'd overreacted. He relaxed. Mistake number 1. He grew confident. Mistake number 2. He accelerated transfers. Mistake number 3. What Adrian never understood is that I didn't build an empire by trusting systems. I built it by designing them. Every account he touched, every entity he created, every transfer he made was logged, traced, mirrored. He thought he was rerouting assets. He was creating a map, a beautiful, incriminating map. And I followed every line. I hired forensic analysts quietly, legal strategists who specialized in corporate warfare, cyber specialists who mapped his digital trail. I learned everything: the offshore structures, the shell companies, the layered transfers designed to appear legitimate, the contingency plans he built in case I resisted. He wasn't just trying to control assets. He was building a shadow empire on top of mine. But he made one critical error. He underestimated the woman who built the original. He assumed emotional betrayal would weaken me. He didn't realize it would sharpen me. When I had everything, I made one move. I didn't confront him at home. I called a board meeting. Full quorum, legal present, auditors present. Adrian sat at the table, smiling like a man who believed he was untouchable. I placed documents on the table. Screens activated behind me.
Today,
I said calmly.
we're addressing unauthorized financial activity conducted under the Mercer umbrella.
His face changed, not with fear, but annoyance. He expected this to be a domestic confrontation, not a corporate execution. Slide after slide, transfers, entities, signatures, beneficiaries. Then came the final slide, the recorded video from a private meeting he had with a foreign investor, discussing a takeover of Mercer Financial once assets were fully transitioned. Silence. His arrogance drained slowly.
You recorded me?
He whispered.
No,
I replied.
you recorded yourself.
The meeting room cameras captured everything. He never noticed. He looked at me like he'd never seen me before. Good, because the woman he married no longer existed.
You don't have to do this.
He said quietly.
We can still fix this.
We are fixing it.
I replied. His voting rights were suspended, his access revoked, authorities notified, civil and criminal proceedings initiated simultaneously. He leaned forward.
You'll lose in court. We're married. Half of everything is mine.
I smiled.
Not anymore.
Because 6 months before I met Adrian, my assets had already been transferred into an irrevocable trust, ownership legally removed from my personal estate. I didn't control Mercer Financial. The trust did. And Adrian had no claim to the trust. He didn't know because I never told him. His face went pale.
You planned this?
No.
I said softly.
I prepared for everything.
He was escorted out before he could say another word. He sued. Of course he did. He lost spectacularly. The prenup he mocked didn't matter. The trust he didn't know about sealed everything. The assets he thought he moved, frozen, recovered. And him? Left with nothing but debt and charges. He told reporters I was cold, manipulative, heartless. Maybe I am. But I didn't break vows. I protected what I built. Years later, people ask if I regret marrying him. Number. Because betrayal taught me something wealth never could. Never confuse intimacy with alignment. Never mistake charm for loyalty. And never, ever give power to someone who didn't build it with you. I still run Mercer Financial, still expand, still grow, but now I trust differently, carefully, intentionally. Because the empire I built wasn't just financial, it was survival, and no one will ever take that from me again.